Hello, everybody. It's the Lit Optimist, and this is a very special day. I get to talk about Better Days. It's a furry webcomic, and it's cool. It's very exciting for me because, like a true millennial, it gives me a chance to be a true millennial and talk about my sexuality. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and talk about Better Days. Years ago, back when my fascination with furry porn was in its mere infancy, I got acquainted with the artwork of one Mr. Jay Naylor, one of the most notable furry porn artists out there. Jay, Jay made or stole, there's lots of criticism of Naylor out there, a character named Fisk Black, one of our main characters here. He and his sister, um, Lucy, are the main characters here, with their mother Sheila doing whatever it takes to raise them as a single mother. And they're all cats, by the way. The characters are witty and lovable, and as I laid back reading this webcomic, which ran for 6 years, wanting and as I laid back reading this webcomic, which ran for 6 years, wanting to jerk off, I actually got sucked into this story and binge read the entire webcomic in one sitting. It follows the Black twins. Oh yeah, they're twins. As little kids all the way to adulthood. Along the way, lots of crazy things happen, but let me talk about why you probably shouldn't read this and the thing the webcomic gets the most flack for. Lucy has her heart broken, and her brother helps her out. Feeling some kind of new weird feeling, she kisses Fisk, and they eventually begin an incestual relationship. And what the fuck, JY? What the fuck, JY? Why would you do this? It completely halts the story midway, and you find yourself disconnecting from it, wanting to distance yourself from this absolute train wreck of a story that it's become. Jay tries to move on from the storyline, but dude, they fucked and continue to do so until high school, where Fitz gets with a Jewish mouse named Elizabeth, and it's a great relationship. But I wonder if he ever tells Liz he fucked his sister. God damn it, Jay, this is your legacy, man. Overall, however, it's a good story, just with a glaringly awful plot point. There are several plot points, and another thing that Jay Naylor gets criticism for is I think he's conservative. I think he's like very like staunchly right wing, and like there's nothing wrong with being either or. Politically, I might be more left leaning. I see myself being like, yeah, I agree with the left a lot more than the right. I'm not to make this a big political thing, but I kind of brought it up in the first place. When I talk to somebody, and if you address me as snowflake or go find your safe space because I say something is offensive, or like I say something that like, oh, that's kind of fucked up, dude, and you're like, okay, snowflake. I'm like, okay, then we can't have a dialogue here. Um, or if I like talk about something that I'm passionate about, or something that I'm like, oh, this is my opinion on this, and you're like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, and I'm like, okay, then we're not gonna have a dialogue here. That's how the world is nowadays. You can't have a dialogue. Nobody wants to discuss. They want to debate, and it's not even debate. They just want to disagree. Everyone wants to fucking fight. Um, some things that Jay talks about, like, okay, yeah, and some of like his dialogue, in his stories, not just in Better Days, but in a lot of stuff, it's just like, what the fuck, like, that was weird. Why'd you do that? So Fisk actually loses his virginity early on, like in the first couple, in like maybe the first chapter or the second chapter, and these all take place like different years too. He's in elementary school. Little black girl, I think she's a hyena, has sex with him, and he's like, well, that was interesting. And turns out she was molested by her father and shit. So, and then years later they meet back up and talk and reconnect. That's like high school or something like that. They might have a relationship, kind of. I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, why? Like, I'm like, ooh, furry porn. Let's talk about that. How did I discover it? Dr. Comet, for my furry lovers out there, my GIF lovers. Dr. Comet was the shit. Um, I would just search Dr. Comet. I would never search furry porn, and then I think I found this by happenstance. You fall into the furry rabbit hole. I bet you want to fall into that rabbit's hole. And then, um, yeah, that shit. So then I found this somehow. There's that. Fisk joins the army. Um, He joins the army. I think he loses his dad. His dad dies in the army too. So he never really gets to know him, I think, is what happens. And Sheila's a single mom trying to raise them. She's having sex with people to get money to buy stuff for them. I don't know. The whole thing is weird. And like I don't know why he made them incestuous. Why would you do that? Like, I remember reading it and I was like, what the fuck? It was bad. And he goes on to make two other incestuous twins later on. But I'm gonna end the video here. You guys have a good one and take care.